All right, everybody. Hope you guys are having a wonderful day so far. Uh, do apologize for not streaming yesterday. Havoc and I had some stuff we needed to get done, and then, of course, we spent some time with each other and had a little sushi date, which was amazing. But yeah, so today we are going to kind of. I don't really have like a super plan today, but I think what I'm going to do is do some concept exploration art today for the Webtoon. So let's go ahead and hop on over here. Oops, I got to turn on my model too, so I'm not just staring blankly at you guys. There we go. So yeah, so I kind of did like a little quick like concept art exploration sketch last night of this. This is going to be one of the. I was kind of coming up with the more advanced zombies for the first arc. They are being controlled by a church. They have some higher functioning. I don't want to spoil too much, so I'm not going to say too much here, but basically these are kind of like the you know how like the big bad always has a squad. These are going to be some of the zombies from that. So I'm just kind of playing around here with what I can come up with. These won't necessarily be like the finalized designs or anything, but I was kind of trying to come up with this like big like executioner type like guy here, and I came up with this sketch last night. So what I'm going to do now is I think I'm going to try to make it a little less stiff, make it a little more, see if we can take this design and make it a little more solid here. So I'm going to stick him over here just so I can see what I did. And then from there, we're going to see if we can make this a little bit better. Because I just did it kind of quick last night, so. I'm also thinking I want to change more of the suit to white. Because they kind of have this whole like white theme going on with like, their like outfits and stuff, so. I'm going to see if I can make his pose a little bit better too here, so. I'm going to kind of make it a little bit more dynamic. So I'm going to start. I am going to use this pose that I have as like a reference, of course, so I have an idea. See if I can get it more of like a curve going on here. So let's actually kind of do this so it's you know what, let's do this better. There's no shame in starting with a stick figure to get the what you're going for here, so that's what we're going to do. I'm going to try to make it a little more dynamic though. I'm going to give it like some angle here. We're going to have kind of square off the head a little bit. Just kind of use some like basic shapes here. Like this. I'm also trying to play with maybe like some more stylization to like the shape language here. Trying to get better as well at my construction, so I'm not quite relying on like the 3D models as much as I usually do. Let's give them really big hands. I think that will Really big hands. We're gonna give him some really big, giant ass arms here. Like that. And then we're gonna have the try to have his hips here going a little bit of a different direction because that helps with things. And let's make this a little smaller so we can, of course, make sure that it fits on our screen here. I have this leg come out some more, I think. Go like this more. Shorten that top part of the leg a little bit more. And then we can have this leg here kind of come out like this. And let's put where like his kind of heels, his feet are resting here. We'll give him some bigger feet. Like that. My kitty is freaking out because Havoc has gone downstairs. And I was kind of thinking that it might be kind of cool if like their weapons were, you know, these zombies are kind of like magic zombies, so they have like crystals basically that you know, kind of form on them. So I was thinking he would have like an axe but with some crystals coming off of it, and we'll mess with the shape of this in a little bit here. And he's gonna be wearing like, I think I was gonna have him kind of like the idea of them wearing like suits, kind of, at least for like the higher ranked ones, because the lower ranked like followers kind of have like this cult kind of thing going on where they're where they wear like these white jumpsuits. His legs seem a little bit long here still, so let's go ahead, and I think that's one of the problems I have when I do my construction, is sometimes I make some of the limbs a little bit longer than they should be, so I think that looks better. And we'll have like maybe his other hand kind of up like this. And then we can kind of connect from here. It's got to be more like that, I think. I might need to bring this arm out a little bit more, actually, so the silhouette doesn't get... So the silhouette reads a little bit more. Let's kind of tilt it more out this way, I think will help with that. Something like that. This leg over here seems like it might need to come in just a little bit too. It's bent. Alright, that's a pretty solid little base there for him to start. He's looking big and hulking and massive like he should be. You know, that's what we're going for here, is a big old super strong boy. So I think this needs to come out a little bit more too. So we're gonna move it up, and I think we're gonna have to adjust the overall size of him on the screen here so I can fit his whole composition in here. Let's go ahead and make this smaller. Alright, now we got a pretty good base here. And I don't know about that whole hood that I got going on here, but we're gonna mess with things and see how we can get them to see if we can get them to play out here. I did want him to have like the cool thing where like it's got like the big like jacket that kind of you know, drapes over like the shoulder kind of thing. So I actually need to look at I think I have a reference for that. So here we go. That one's kind of got it going on. So do that. We'll do the base of the jacket first. So it's got to go like across the shoulders here. It actually kind of comes out. Well, I want more of the jacket actually on the back side of them to show up here, so kind of want that, and then the arms will be like coming over this way, so needs to come up more around like the neck area, I think. You know, like I said, I'm trying to focus a lot on like shapes here, so let's do like the collars. Trying to make sure that like the zombies are a little more interesting. You know, especially since it's like we have a, you know, where they're not just like, all of them aren't just like mindless, like, you know, some of them have their intelligence and they have like special abilities and whatnot based on whatever strain of the virus they're infected with, so. What we're going for here. Ooh, it would be kind of cool if he had like the little kind of things that go on over top of the shoulders too. I like kind of like those. We can break up the white a little bit with like some different just a little bit of a different like value here. So do that. Yeah, I might scrap the hood thing and give him something else. But we'll see how it goes. Alright, so that's like the over jacket part. They are going to have like a suit underneath as well, so I think would be the way to go. So let's go ahead and let's get that squared away. So we'll kind of just get the general shape here. Underneath going on. Why did they not fill more? Oh, that's why. Haha. Gotta put it above it. I was like, something's weird here. Alright, and let's do, because the suit itself will also have some color action going on here. And we're just kind of using this as a loose like reference here. I don't want to make it like you don't want to make it one for one for your reference, otherwise you're just copying. So I don't want to do that. Let's do where it's got some buttons and it's got little pockets here and there. Then we gotta give him some paints. So let me see. I think I have some suit pants somewhere in here. Hold on, I'm bringing up my little reference jams here. It's always good to try to use references as much as possible, because I don't know how to draw everything from memory, at least not yet. So maybe one of these days. Let's see, do I have any suit pants references? I thought I did. Jackets. Well, there's some examples for the jackets there. I should have used that. That's okay. We'll figure it out in a minute with that. Cloaks, capes, and hood. Wastelander gear. Men's tops. Could have swore I had more references saved. Well, shit. Hold on. I'm gonna have to find some. Give me one sec, guys. Shouldn't take very long. Reference. Here we go. Hell yeah. And hopefully these are not AI. Some of them might be, just because like it's kind of hard to avoid these days. And let me put these in the correct reference folder. where is it? Clothing. That. Just trying to get like the general shapes and the pieces kind of looking somewhat close, because after this we're going to go through and we're going to refine this design. Still like super early right now, so. And you know, like I said, we might not end up using this, but it's fun to play around, and it's really good practice for you know, practicing like iterations, which is something you would want to practice if you want to do any sort of like concept art or character design, that kind of thing. Alright, we got a pretty big boy here, so we're gonna kind of try to do our best here to still have some of the shapes going on. Alright, is that on the same layer? Nope, I just gotta pull it down. There we go. So actually make it a little lighter, because like I said, I want to keep more of the design like white, kind of with like the little theme they got going on here. Ooh, and then we got the shoes here too, so I can go ahead and get the shape of those. So they're kind of a little pointy. Let's see. So let's get the heel shape like that. Except that he's got big ass feet, so we're gonna have to make it bigger. And let's give it a little more of a curve down here. We got the heel, and let's actually bring this kind of like that. We'll fix this up a little bit later so it doesn't look so weird. Actually, it's kind of bothering me. Let's go ahead and do it now. Just a little bit. There we go. That'll help with that. The heel actually goes up kind of high on these, so we'll have his pants come down over his thing a little bit more. Might have to. It looks okay. Alright, so we got that. Let me go ahead and flip him. Whoops, not that way. See how he's looking so far. It's alright. And let's put. I need to have the jacket coat go behind. So we're gonna grab I'm gonna make it a little lighter so the values show up a little bit differently here. Oops. Needs to be on a layer below that part. Like that. Let's make it a little lighter actually. Like that. And we might have to adjust that at some point for the silhouette to, you know, not get all muddled. Alright, cool. And let's actually make like the sleeve parts a little bit darker. I think that'll make it a little more cohesive with kind of how we have it already. Like that. And he needs to, we need to finish up his suit underneath here a little bit more. So let me find that layer. There we go, we got it right there. And I think I'm actually, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna have the sleeves rolled up on it, I think. To expose his arms to kind of like drive home the fact that he's like beefy as all hell, so. And we can also, you know, expose more of his, you know, that you can see more that he's like, you know, not exactly human anymore, so. And let's give some like glove action going on here. So I'm just gonna kind of, and we're gonna fix this up so it's not, doesn't have to be exact. And his thumb would kind of be, well, we'll figure out his thumb situation here in a little bit. Maybe some like belts around like his arm. I don't want to make him too terribly detailed, of course, because this is a Webtoon character. But maybe some things that make him a little more like intimidating might be kind of cool to do. So. Build the hand out a little bit here, like it's a thumb. Of course, when we draw it, it'll be better. We're just trying to get the shapes so far. More of his glove coming out that way. You know, this might actually work better if I put a little bit of an outline on him. That way I can kind of see exactly where the separations are a little bit better. So let's do that. And it'll probably make it easier for you guys to see what I'm doing too. Because right now it's like gray on gray on gray, so let's give us some separations here. I think it'll help with the me visualize the shape language as well. Again, I'm not really like, concept art isn't really like my strong suit, but it is something I do want to work to improve. I do need to do more like exploration and iterations of like my characters, so it's always good to practice like what you're weak at. In fact, that's like the number one things you should be practicing, or like what you're weak at. If you're gonna do any sort of practice of any kind. Yo, what's up, Nefa? How's it going? I will stretch and save in just one sec here. I gotta complete my thought or I'll lose it. Damn ADHD. Alright. So let's go ahead and let's save this. Yeah, I'm working on designing some of the higher tier zombies for the first arc of the Webtoon. Been waiting for a new game to download. Been waiting for so long. What game is it? Also getting some water and standing up straight. Romeo is a dead man. I don't think I've heard of that one. New Grasshopper manufacturer game. Oh, they made... Okay. I didn't play any of those games, but they did look really cool. I am currently playing the fucking Dark Souls of JRPGs. That is Fantasio, like metaphor Fantasio. So I'm thinking this arm should probably come out a little bit more. That would help the silhouette. So where is my... There we go. We're gonna take... Actually, we're gonna cut all this whole part here. Let me also find the sketch. And we're gonna bring it out more... I think more like this. I think that'll look better. Oh yeah, they're definitely like pretty wild as far as like their designs and whatnot. Yeah, it is good, but god damn is it difficult. Like holy shit. Like it's like borderline like unfair difficult in my opinion. Oh, that's not exactly right. Now that I'm looking at it. think it might need to even come down a little bit more. Well, let's flip it this way. And let's bring him more down like this, I think. But you know what? Like, I'm not giving up. I'm gonna keep trying my best on it. Just because it's hard doesn't mean, I'm gonna quit. So I do definitely like it so far. So well, like I think it's an Atlas RPG, so it's like I've played like Persona and stuff like that, but I've never actually completed any of their games. I have a tendency to actually, you know, to actually give up on them. So I'm trying not to do that with this one here. But it's like really, really difficult to, like your resource management is just, you know, like I like to like kind of like grind to like get ahead and everything, and it's not always working out for me. I think. Oops. I think I need to bring. What's that? So I need this layer. Things got moved around here. There we go. That's what I need. Stop. Alright, let's grab this, and let's also bring this out more. Oops, wrong one. It's this layer. Alright, I think the silhouette's looking a little bit better now. So far. Alright, so definitely want his face to be pretty sizable here. But I gotta make sure that it's got some actual structure here. But like I said, I want the shapes to be interesting. So it's more of a skull. This will be about where the ear is. So let's bring his jaw out and down like that. And the brow line will be around here. This is just going to be like a placeholder for like the shapes and whatnot. And then when I go to draw it, I can like refine it, so. Duplicate. Let's put this down here. Oops, that has to go down farther. Might have to widen up the neck area on the yeah, we'll widen up the neck area when we go to draw here. I could still kind of give him some sort of hood that's kind of like an executioner thing. Let's see. Or give him something that kind of looks like what I'm going for. I don't want him to look like a straight up like, he's kind of looking like a mobster right now, so he does need more like something that makes him a little more religious here. Actually, that's kind of neat. Something like that might be kind of cool. So let's mess around with something like this to see how it might end up looking here. Like I said, I don't want to make it exactly like the reference here. But something along these lines might be kind of cool for like an executioner style character. I don't know, we'll just play with like the shapes here. Let's make it like a gray for now. Might be kind of cool. I could give him some straps that kind of go over the head like this too. And like behind the ear there. Something like that. Let's have it kind of come out more this way. It's kind of cool. Again, I kind of wanted to give him some like straps maybe around like his arms here. Might make him look also a little more intimidating. Maybe make it a little bit different. Put some around like the bicep area. maybe just on the arm that has the axe. That might. So we have some like asymmetry here. We'll figure it out. I'm just trying to figure out shapes and stuff, make sure that he's looking like interesting in some way, shape, or form. I don't know. Maybe a hood still would be kind of cool. Hold on, I don't like that shape. Damn it. Just can't. I don't know about the hood. I don't know. We'll keep that layer just in case, so we can mess with it. Alright, let's get an axe going here. And then we can work on kind of like refining it from here. I was kind of thinking it'd be cool if like their weapons almost looked like they were like made of like not only like the crystals that grow off of them, but maybe like parts of themselves. Like they pulled it off of their body to create them. So maybe almost like a bone-like structure might be kind of cool. Yeah, like super metal. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. gotta change my music here in a sec. Got a sponsorship plug going on here for Lauren. This might actually be kind of cool for the silhouette of it too, to have some like bones sticking out like this way. And then maybe we'll have like a support one here where the again, I don't want to make it too complex because then it'll be difficult for me to draw on the regular. But maybe these kind of like support the way the axe is shaped. Alright, maybe something like that. And then let's go underneath it. I don't know. Concept design is difficult because it's like oftentimes less is more. And especially when you're designing specifically for something like, say, like an animation or like a webtoon or something along that lines, you want to make sure that you're not, you got to stay within the scope of what you're trying to like achieve. So yeah, it's important to keep that in mind. Bring the axe a little out more. Want it to be like big and exaggerated. Yeah. it definitely is. It's really difficult. You know, I still definitely want like August and Val to see this and be like, "What the actual fuck is that?" Like, I have never seen one like that before. Like, all right, I definitely want to include some sort of like crystals on it because that's like, you know, the whole thing with our zombies is they have crystallizations on them from where they've been infected because it's they're magic based. So let's see if we can make sure that we preserve some of the. We gotta make sure we preserve like the bone aspect of it too. So I'm just gonna kind of put stuff that kind of has like a little bit of like a crystal kind of shape to it. But like maybe it's like kind of overlapping some of the bone parts for like a structural kind of thing. And we can get a little bit of like kind of spikiness in some of these areas. Try to keep the functionality of the weapon still intact, of course, as an axe. Flip it this way. And I'll probably have to do some like simplify it a little bit when we go to draw it here. Alright, that's pretty cool. So I think that'll work for now. Alright, so let's see if we can take this and we can draw something from it that looks a little bit better. You know, we're going to have like several versions here, of course, until we get exactly what we're like kind of shooting for. So let's go ahead and rasterize all these. That way I can do some like manipulations of like the general overall shape and all that kind of stuff. Make sure it looks good from both directions. And let's cancel that so I can get rid of this guy for a sec here. So what I'm gonna do, I need to check, I need to make sure the silhouette itself reads. So we're gonna go ahead, we're gonna do that number here. And I'm gonna turn off the sketch layer because I don't need that. Yeah, it's not too bad. We might need some more negative space over here. We might need to do something different with this leg. Like maybe make it like straighter, or maybe move it out a little bit. So let's see, let's do some messing around here. Oh, that is not working the way I want to. That's just making my my computer freak out, so let's not do that. Alright, it's not too bad. We can figure things out with it. So let's go ahead, let's lower him down, and we can just start doing some sketching now on top. Let's get some of his structure actually going on here, so. You know what? Let's do our Loomis first. that'll help. Alright, so we got our Loomis, and let's really bring this down. And change the color of this sketch. I'm going to start on the nose here. Let's give him like a really big, broad nose. As he's like mook sized here. And these like advanced zombies, of course, are very arrogant and confident because of the specific zombie line that they come from here. And I'm not going to spoil what it is, so you guys will have to find out by reading when I get to it. Let's just say they are incredibly difficult to kill, so I'll leave it at that. And even though I'm going to experiment with putting like a mask on him, we do want to make sure that we're still like, kind of drawing the structure like underneath so we know where everything is. I don't know. I'm debating whether I should give this guy like any kind of like eyebrows or. And I'm kind of thinking bold. They are religious zealots, so that's why I kind of was like going for like this almost like bit of like inspiration from like some of like the medieval themes, and plus that was, like I said, I've been playing like Refantasio, and that's very there is like a some of the one of the factions is like a religious like organization, so kind of made me want to go that route. It just kind of fits really well with like the theme of these like zombies and stuff, so kind of want to make it look like he has some like droop to like the one side of his face since he is undead, so let's actually make it more apparent on this eye here. Make his cheekbones a little more pronounced here. Maybe bring him in just a bit. I'm not going to do crazy detail on the ear. Alright, let's start getting his muscle structure here, at least to draw it out, so well, yeah, we do need to draw what's underneath. I'll go ahead and save real quick. And I'll flip back this way. Probably have to do some size adjustments here. Let's make his head a little smaller. When you want to make sure that a character looks big and hulking, you want to make sure that their head is actually a bit smaller. to go with that. Just kind of like the juxtaposition, like the size difference in like the muscles and stuff, because the head doesn't like necessarily grow, when you work out. I mean, it just doesn't. So the head's gonna, stay the same size, unless of course you got like a character that's like, a different race or something. Where they just have like different proportions. Trying to figure out how to make this anatomy work. I'm not used to doing like really stylized, and I'm trying to go for like more interesting shapes here, so maybe I should do some sketching for the I think some sketching for the anatomy might do me some good here. So let's make a new layer, and where we'll do this, where we kind of figure things out a little bit more here. Alright, this arm's up a little bit. This one's up a little bit too, so there'd be like kind of like a it's got to have a pretty big chest area. Yeah, the big beefy monster. I like really want to exaggerate his size. Like he's gonna be fucking huge. Just realized how fucking random this song is. Oh, it's called Sex Tapes. No wonder. That's the name of the song. Yeah, we're gonna have to do some like hella exaggeration here with this bro. Let's make that thicker. And real thick. Have to make him smaller so he'll fit. Trying to make it look like his leg is positioned in the way I want. I gotta make him smaller again. Fuck. He's just so beefy. Almost kind of like a Hulk build we got going on here. Maybe not out so much. Maybe more. I come kind of down like this. His leg's too long again. Shit. Okay. We're gonna fix this. Again, this is something I really need to practice, is like my construction, so my anatomy is not exactly, 100% where it should be, so things we aspire to be better at, right? This looks like this bicep could come out more. Yeah, we're gonna have to do some major major work here to make this work the way it needs to, so. But you know what? Can't improve without practice, so. I think this chest should come out more. Let's have like the meat of the hand. So his arm is nice and big. And then we need like a thumb to grip. And we'll figure out the rest of the fingers here in a little bit. That still seems a little too too far out. So let's bring that in just a tad. And kind of bring it that way. That kind of doesn't look right either, that foot. So let's do this, this. That one. The heel needs to be kind of back here. Let's do it like that, and then this needs to be actually, I think, be thicker, kind of going like that. I feel like the legs are still a bit long. So let's bring that in a bit. Oops. Deselect. If I actually make the upper body bigger, that'll probably help with the proportions a little bit. And then I can take this and move it over a little bit. This way. And then it's got a butt back here, so we gotta remember dude has a butt. And flip it. Kind of looks like he's leaning forward a little bit, so maybe if I tilt him and move it this way, maybe even more. That's looking better for how he's standing. Oh yeah, that's way better. Hell yeah. We did it. Alright, so we got that up there. Let's go ahead and lower this sketch down, then we can clean it up a little bit more. Get rid of that because I don't need it. this line. He's just gonna have a big ass neck. Yeah, good call. Let me save. You know what? Let's also kind of bring this kind of like it's going like this. It's gonna connect more like right around there. This guy probably has like all the what I call the hot dog rolls. You know, like a bouncer's more experienced based on how many hot dogs are on the back of their head. So yeah, I really need to work on my anatomy here. Kind of fake it till you make it with the muscle structure here, right? It looks generally right as far as like shapes, so it's all I'm really worried about right now. Because we're gonna draw over top of this anyway for like his suit and stuff, so. Oh my god, we're getting all crazy here. Art Aniki exposed as a fraud. But again, like I said, you know, things I need to work on. I could always. What I'll probably do is, well, what I should do is when I go to do like the clean work of this, is to use a reference. Use your references, kids. Otherwise, you're going to be like unsure of what you're doing, like I am right now. I'm not afraid to admit that I have flaws and weaknesses and areas that I need to work on. So it's important to be humble. You don't know everything. Like, even when you become a quote unquote professional, there is like always room to grow. So if you're not constantly striving to improve, then you're going to be left in the dust. Still doing the same old thing, still making the same mistakes. So we want to try to like avoid that as much as possible. And we're just going to kind of like represent a crotch. We don't need a full detailed ween area down there, so and I have to admit I'm not really good with the muscle structure of the legs. So like I said, when I go to do the final version of this, I am going to use a reference. Ooh, looking like a chicken leg there. More room for a crotch here. Oops. Oh, come on. It's the only thing I don't like about my tablet is sometimes it doesn't always like select what I'm going for. Yeah, we're gonna look up some leg muscles here in a little bit. I just kind of want to get what I got so far down, and then I can take the time to pull up references and fix it. Two, three, four. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yes, I am counting. Don't judge me. I'm also not great with feet, so that's just going to represent the feet for now until I get my reference. I feel like this is too high up. I feel like it should be more. The calf should be more around this area somewhere. Also, this line looks weird. Yeah, we're gonna fix these legs. When, at some point here, they need some fixing. Your boy really needs to study his anatomy. Caught in 4K. But you know what? Like I said, I'm not afraid to acknowledge that I need help. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh yeah, there's gonna be a lot of fixing going on here as we go. The path to professional is a bumpy one, let me tell you. All right, so let's see. Let's kind of have them 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4. And then the thumb will be on the other side here, so. Then 1, 2, 3, 4. That seems a little short for that one, so maybe add a little bit more ground in here. Let that come out. And also come out. These will come down a little bit more, maybe. These 2 fingers towards the end here, I know tend to come together. We're going to fix this hand as well with some references when we get into it. And I think the thumb is on this side. Yeah, because that's the pointer finger. So thumb's like somewhere around where it'll kind of stick out a little bit. Kind of like this. Something like that. Yeah, we're going to use a reference on the hands here. I mean, it's still better than the initial sketch, and that's what I'm kind of just going for here, is just to kind of have it look better than it initially did. And then I can go through, I can fix all my numerous anatomy mistakes with references, so. Like, it looks kind of right, so. Just a little bit, you know? Alright, so we're gonna do thumb. Yeah, I think I'm actually going to call that there. And then what I'll do is tomorrow we will go through with references and we'll actually like clean this up so it looks right. Or at least as close to right as we can get it. So let me go ahead and just kind of show you, have things on the screen here as far as what we did. This was like a little more like refined kind of sketch of like the possible outfit and things like that. I wanted to have like a jacket draped over the shoulders with a suit, some sort of like executioner vibe with like an axe made of materials from their body. And then this was, of course, the initial one that I came up with here. As you can see, it looks a little more structurally sound because I use 3D models on that, but I'm trying to get away from doing that as much as I can. I feel like I'm using that as a crutch, and I don't want to do that anymore. I want to be a big boy. I want to be a real artist, so... Let me go ahead and save again, and then I'll throw you guys in the lobby here, and we can do a little wrap-up. All right. Well, I want to thank you guys so much for hanging out with me today. I really appreciate it. If you like the kind of content I do, please give me a follow to see when I go live. I don't normally stream on Wednesdays, but I think I'll be doing a makeup stream tomorrow since I was off on Monday. If you really enjoy my content, consider subscribing. That would help me to continue to do what I do for you guys. I will catch you guys